On Sunday, the Arizona Cardinals defeated the San Francisco 49ers in a close game. This was a big division win for the Cardinals and somewhat of a disappointing loss for the 49ers. The game was a little bit sloppy, and both teams made their share of mistakes. And we're going to look at the first one right here by Arizona. Let's do a little football 101. This is the center, these are the guards, and these are the tackles. Now, if we take imaginary lines and draw them on the outside feet of the tackles and go backwards, this is called the tackle box. And these players are going to move around as the play progresses, but the box, as it exists at the snap, stays where it is on the field. Here you can see Kyler Murray is still inside the tackle box. He's inside the pocket. If you're inside the pocket, you can't throw the ball away. You have to throw the ball towards a receiver and get that ball up to the line of scrimmage. Looks like he did neither of those things here. That's a penalty on Arizona for intentional grounding, and it comes with a loss of down, so they would be forced to punt, and the 49ers will get the ball. I bring that up because it might come up later in the game. All right, let's check out how the Niners start this next drive. Right away, we see Raheem Mostert, who was recently clocked as the fastest player in the NFL, is threatening to go deep on the outside. He's matched up one-on-one against promising rookie linebacker Isaiah Simmons. Now Simmons knows he's out of position, so he runs over to pick up Mostert. But as soon as he gets there, Raheem changes directions. Now Simmons sees this, but his momentum is still carrying him to the outside. Mostert comes wide open. It's an easy throw for Garoppolo, and once Raheem has the ball in the open field, there's nobody that's going to catch him. Now check out this pass protection Garoppolo has. Pretty darn good. Nice throw. The play goes for 76 yards, and this puts the Niners up 10-0 right off the bat. So things looking good for San Francisco at the start, but now it's a little bit later in the first quarter and they have a punt. And well, I'm showing you a punt for a reason, and for the 49ers, unfortunately, it's not a good reason. Disaster strikes, and Arizona gets the ball. Now, there's a little bit of confusion on the 49ers special teams here about who's responsible for blocking which players. Let's take a look. Now, that's Azeez Al-Shaair next to Kyle Nelson there. Shaair picks up number 81, which is strange, because now this leaves Dante Johnson with a problem. Because Zeke Turner's going to come around, but at the same time, Gardeck is also going to come around, and Dante Johnson can't block two people. When I saw this play live, my first reaction was that this was Johnson's fault. Now I'm not so sure. This was definitely a miscommunication of some kind for the special teams blocking assignments on this play. And there's some of that that's going to be expected with no preseason, but you know, this game counts in the record books, and that can't happen. Cardinals take over on their own 10-yard line, and here they come up with a really nice play. You can see Kyler Murray holding out the ball, and this kind of freezes the defensive ends a little bit. They're waiting to see who he hands the ball off to. Well, as it turns out, Murray just keeps the ball himself and rolls out. Now, Nick Bosa has a decision to make. Does he stay in pass coverage and try to stay with the running back, or does he go after the quarterback? Well, he kind of tries to go in between, and that doesn't work. This is why I say it's a nice play. Usually Kyle Shanahan is the one who's putting defenders in conflict. Here, it's the Cardinals that are putting Bosa in conflict, and he chooses neither path, and it's an easy play for Murray to make. Now, notice that Murray hasn't thrown the ball yet, and already Quan Alexander is sprinting towards the sideline to try to make the play. But he's too far away. It's too late. He's already beaten. The Cardinals have already scored. What was once a game that the 49ers had total control of and a very comfortable 10-point lead has suddenly become much closer. And this is why coaches will tell you that special teams is such an important part of the game. Now, I included this next play because it gives us a chance to take a look at Jerick McKinnon's speed and how his speed is despite not playing football in over 900 days. Here you can see he's threatening to go to the outside. Now, this is similar to the Raheem Mostert play, so the defender is setting up just a little bit to the inside. Naturally, McKinnon will continue running the wheel route, and it's a good chance for us to see his speed matched up one-on-one against a linebacker. The pass falls incomplete. Let's go back to the snap. The Cardinals send a blitz, and it looks like the pressure is going to get home. There may be a receiver coming into the picture late, but because of the pressure, Garoppolo doesn't have time to move on to his other reads. He has to throw this ball a little bit early. Now, it looked like McKinnon did start to get just a step on him, but the ball's just a little bit out of reach. Really terrific effort for him diving for that ball, but he just doesn't quite get there. All right, we're going to move ahead to the second quarter now, and here we have an interesting moment in the game. It's 3rd and 18, and looks like the Niners are handing the ball off here. Now, why would you do that? Well, the Cardinals know that really San Francisco is probably going to need to pass this ball into the end zone if they want to score. So notice all the Cardinal defenders dropping back. And this makes sense, right? If they send a corner blitz, for example, Pettis is going to be gone for an easy touchdown. So the Niners simply hand the ball off. They make the adjustment based on what the defense is going to do. And it looks like McKinnon has a pretty nice hole to run through here. If Dante Pettis blocks his man, he's going to make it into the end zone pretty easily. But I want you to watch Dante on this play. He doesn't really put up a block, and the defender forces McKinnon back inside where the Cardinals are able to make the tackle. Very, very poor blocking from Dante Pettis, whose run blocking grade in the game was, I believe it was a 49. Not good. And look at McKinnon. He can't believe he didn't score there. Well, it's 4th and 1. They can just punch it in, right? Stuffed. This is why you must take advantage of every opportunity you get in an NFL game. You can never assume what's going to happen on the next play. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what went wrong here. Okay, take a look at number 89, rookie tight end Charlie Warner, and he's blocking Kennard on the play. Daniel Brunskill is coming around, and he's going to be the lead blocker for Raheem Mostert. This looks really good right off the bat. But Kennard beats the block of Warner, and this completely disrupts the play. Now Brunskill has to slow up and try to block him, but he goes right by him. Now Kennard and Campbell both have a clean shot at Raheem Mostert. Kennard makes the tackle, and the play is stopped at the 1-yard line. Big defensive stop for Arizona. Look at the Niners all kind of just standing around and wondering how this could have happened on these last 2 plays they just had. Okay, San Francisco would get the ball back later in the second quarter. Here we see Kendrick Bourne making a move to the outside, and he's matched up against Byron Murphy, and Murphy's too far away from him. So Murphy takes off sprinting as hard as he can to try to get over there and cover him. The rest of the 49ers receivers continue running deep, leaving nobody in the middle of the field, so that when Bourne cuts back to the inside, he's going to come wide open to catch an easy pass with a whole lot of room to work with. "18-yard gain on the play. Very nice. Maybe it could have been a little more." You ever coach first grade football or first grade baseball, and there's some kid kind of twirling in the middle of the field, not really knowing what's going on? Watch Dante Pettis here. And here we get to the play of the game that has been dissected and talked about and debated on Twitter and podcasts. And everything, and we're going to take a look at it here. The Niners call a deep shot for Dante. Now, from that angle, which was similar to the telecast angle, it's a bit tough to tell. Was that ball overthrown, or did Dante just make a poor effort? Here, Garoppolo waits for him to go in his break, and he throws up a nice, easy, catchable ball. The safety is able to come over because of that. But it looks like Dante kind of alligator arms this a little bit. He doesn't really make the full effort here. Now, could he have made that catch? I don't know. It's a really difficult catch to make. He does get lit up by the safety there. If he goes up and he takes the hit and he doesn't come down with the ball, I'm okay with that. But I at least want him to make the attempt. In my opinion, the problem with that play is that he just didn't make enough of an effort. And some people may disagree with me, and that's okay. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I want to know what you guys think of that play and of Dante Pettis. Is it time to maybe look at other options with him, or, should we continue to see what we've got? Because we all know that the potential is there, but unfortunately, he just hasn't quite been producing the way we need him to. The Niners would punt, and the Cardinals would get the ball, so let's take a look at this drive. The pass is batted up into the air and intercepted by the 49ers. Terrific play. Let's go back to the snap. Okay, the Cardinals execute a run fake here, and Dre Greenlaw bites on the fake. He sprints up to meet the running back in the hole, and you can already see the tight end ready to sneak in behind him for a big play. But Greenlaw knows that if you can't get home to the quarterback, you can at least stick your hands up. And that's what he does. And the pass is intercepted as a result. Huge play by Dre Greenlaw. And Niner fans are used to that by now. So, the Niners are going to have a chance to score here right before the half. Now let's take a look at what happens on this play, because this one was also infamous for all the wrong reasons. Here, Kendrick Bourne is going to block the corner, leaving George Kittle wide open into the end zone for an easy touchdown. Easy pre-snap read. This should be no problem, but Bourne whiffs on the block. And yes, the pass is a little high by Garoppolo. Still hits Kittle in the hands, but either way, he's going to get blown up. The problem with this play was mostly the block by Kendrick Bourne. Nice, clean, legal hit between Budda Baker and George Kittle there. We all know they respect each other. But Kittle, unfortunately, just landed awkwardly on that knee, and he's going to be unable to play against the Jets. And that's why execution is so important, even if you're just throwing a block on a play. We've seen that twice now, that missed blocks have really hurt the 49ers in this game. All right, let's skip ahead to the fourth quarter now. The 49ers lead at 13-10, but Arizona is threatening. And let's take a look at what these teams did right on Sunday. Look at this run by Kyler Murray. That was spectacular, and he holds the ball out at the end there like Tony Dorsett. I love it. Now, the 49ers know this is a pivotal moment in the game, so in addition to their front four, they're also going to blitz K'Waun Williams and Fred Warner. Now, Arizona does have two tight ends over there, but they're both going to be running pass patterns. So Chase Edmonds is going to be responsible for blocking K'Waun Williams, and the center is going to pick up Fred Warner. The left tackle Humphries will have to block Nick Bosa one-on-one. Now, so far this looks pretty good, but we see pretty clearly that eventually Nick Bosa is going to get home. Now let's go ahead and change the angle so we can see the whole field. And right away we notice that all the receivers for the Cardinals are covered. But Kyler Murray sees a nice lane and he decides to run through it to see what kind of yardage he can pick up with his legs. Right here it looks like he's got a clear path to the outside. But watch Richard Sherman. sheds his block and sets up to the outside and forces Kyler Murray back to the middle. And Murray simply says, well, I'll just have to run away from the defense then. Now, from this angle, it does look like Jimmy Ward could have taken a little bit better of an angle there. Murray kind of burned him. But that's going to happen with Kyler Murray. All right, the Cardinals have just taken the lead. It's time for a big drive here. Need to go down and score. It's time for a big boy drive. And the 49ers start off with a running play. The flankers for the Niners are going to go deep, taking the corners and the safeties with them. Kyle Juszczyk will be the lead blocker for the running back. The linebackers for the Cardinals respond very aggressively, all rushing to fill that hole. And that's unfortunate because this isn't a running play. It's a fake, and Kyle Juszczyk is going to come wide open down the sideline. Perfect throw by Garoppolo, and that's exactly the kind of monster gain the 49ers needed in this game. Third and 10 here, though. Got to pick this one up. You don't want the drive stalling. Not at the 37. A little too long to kick the field goal there. Not quite close enough to go for it. And to make matters worse, it looks like all the receivers for the Niners are covered. Garoppolo keeps his eyes on him as long as he can, but eventually he's forced out of the pocket. But it does look like McKinnon does have some daylight down at the end of the field. Notice that the defender's back is turned. Garoppolo notices too and throws the pass. It's 3rd and 10, so you might as well throw it. And the defender still has his back turned, and McKinnon has good position on the safety here. But the ball ends up being intercepted. Why? Well, you see a couple flags come in at the end of the play there. Let's go back and take another look from a different angle. Here we see the defender is so badly beaten, out of desperation, he just decides to tackle McKinnon here. And if he doesn't do that, McKinnon's probably able to jump up and at the very least fight for that ball. It might not have been caught, but it definitely wouldn't have been picked. But it's pass interference, and the 49ers get the ball down near the goal line. Now this is another interesting play that was talked about a little bit. Here we can see that Garoppolo's first read is to Raheem Mostert. Raheem gets bumped off of his route pretty solidly there, so Garoppolo moves on to his next read. Steve Young thought that maybe Garoppolo should have stuck with Mostert a little longer, but in any event, his next read is covered, so then he's going to move on to his third read. And something happens here. The ball gets overthrown. It's a little unclear whether this was a miscommunication. Maybe Garoppolo saw something he didn't like, but the pass ends up being incomplete. Now, the fans are going crazy because Mostert was wide open at the top of the screen still, but realistically, Garoppolo wasn't going to go from Kendrick Bourne back to Mostert as his next read. If he was going to go back in that direction, he would have made his progressions in order and come back to the middle. So realistically, he was never going to come that way anyway. He does stick with him for a good amount of time there, but you can't do that too long because then it throws off the timing of the other routes. And that could have been what happened there. All right, 3rd and 5, and the Niners come right back to it. This time they have Jerick McKinnon in the game, and it's the Cardinals that have a miscommunication as 2 of their defenders defend the tight end, and nobody defends Jerick McKinnon. I thought McKinnon looked pretty good for not having played 900 days. Now it's Arizona's turn to respond. And did they ever? Now the first thing we notice here is DeAndre Hopkins running across the field, and the middle linebacker has him, but he's going to pass him off to the next defender because the 49ers are in a zone. But where things get interesting is the outside linebacker has to go pick up the running back coming out of the backfield. The inside slot receiver comes to the inside, where he is correctly picked up by the middle linebacker. But for some reason, Richard Sherman also comes down to pick him up, meaning the other receiver is going to be picked up by the last San Francisco defender, and absolutely nobody is going to be on DeAndre Hopkins. And when you don't cover one of the best receivers in football, you are going to pay dearly. Hopkins takes it to the house. It's an easy read for Murray, and upon review, he was stopped at the 1, but the Cardinals would punch it in the next play, and they lead 24-20 with 5 minutes to go. Now here we can talk a little bit about game situation. With 5 minutes to go, the Niners want to do a lot of running plays here, give their defense a bit of a rest. Here you see Garoppolo scrambling for a nice first down. Take time off the clock, get in scoring position, and win the game. I thought the play calling was absolutely outstanding on this drive. They moved down nice and methodically, took plenty of time off the clock, and looked good doing it. Now check out Garoppolo showing some toughness here, willing to take that hit. Very nice. Now the Cardinal defense really didn't adjust well on this drive because the 49ers kept running the ball. And take a look at the Cardinal defenders. They're all hanging back, expecting the pass. The Niner running back starting to get some big gains here. And they've moved into scoring position with about a minute and a half left. Here's a nice tight window throw by Garoppolo that gets the Niners down to the 20 with a first down. Very nice. Now I want you to notice Patrick Peterson here. He starts backpedaling, but Kendrick Bourne gives him just a little bit of a move to the inside. And in addition to that, Garoppolo is just staring him down. I mean, staring right at him. And both corners think that they have an interception here. They break hard on this route, and Bourne absolutely burns them. Outstanding job by Kendrick Bourne. Outstanding job by Jimmy Garoppolo, moving the defense with his eyes. Unfortunately, this is where my praise for those two players has to stop for this game. This pass by Garoppolo was underthrown. This allows Peterson to get back into the play. Now he still has his back turned, so all Bourne has to do is jump up into him, and he gets an automatic, easy pass interference call, ball at the 1 yard line. And you can almost feel the official getting ready to reach for his flag here. Instead, Bourne waits for the ball to come to him. The ball hits Peterson first, so it's an incomplete pass by rule. Now, as a receiver, you never wait for the ball to come to you. You go up and get the ball, and you also never give the defender any idea the ball is coming until the last possible second, which Bourne did not do there. That one hurts, but got to move on to the next play. Here we see another really nice tight window throw by Garoppolo to Trent Taylor there. Look at the location of that throw. That was really nice. Now you've gained some yardage, made it a little easier on yourself, and it's 3rd and 5. Here, all the receivers for the 49ers are covered. Garoppolo escapes the pocket. He's got Trent Taylor, and he guns it down there. And it's an incomplete pass. Taylor's not really the guy you want leaping into the end zone like that, but it was a scramble drill. That's why he did it. You know, when the quarterback gets flushed out of the pocket, you break off your route. And that's what Taylor did. And he almost came up with that catch. Really nice effort there. But now it's 4th and 5, and you've got to convert. This is a simple play, but it's one that has to be timed just right. Here we see Trent Taylor well into his break, but Garoppolo hasn't thrown the ball yet. This pass is late, and to make matters worse, it's behind Trent Taylor, allowing the defender to make a play on the ball and break up the pass, winning the game for the Cardinals. And it doesn't surprise me that the timing is off between Garoppolo and Taylor. Taylor hasn't played in over a year, and neither of these teams had a preseason or anything like that. It's going to take time to get that timing down, but it would have been nice if they could have converted this one, that's for sure. Cardinals are going to take this game. Now, one last thing I want to show you guys. I was pretty hard on Dante Pettis earlier in the video, and I think justifiably so. Watch what he does to the defender here. Absolutely burns him, and that's great. That's one of the things that is so frustrating about Dante is we know he has the skills. We just need more consistency out of him. And as far as, whether Garoppolo should have looked in that direction or not, I think he makes the pre-snap read based on where everybody's lined up, and he knows his first read's going to be to Trent Taylor, and he had no reason to come off of him. Taylor was open. So it's not like Garoppolo should have looked at Pettis or anything like that. Well, that's it. Disappointing loss for the 49ers. Ultimately, they had plenty of chances to win this game. They didn't score down there at the end. They also didn't score on the 1 yard line. That was, 10 or even 14 potential points they could have had right there. The Cardinals blocked the punt and returned it essentially for a touchdown. So this game could have been a blowout in San Francisco's favor. They just need to iron things up, get things tightened up a little bit. As they get some actual playing time, Garoppolo's timing will improve with his receivers, especially with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk coming back, and George Kittle coming back. Hopefully all three of those guys can make it back in a couple of weeks. I expect the offense to look a lot crisper, a lot smoother. Really these guys have the chance to get in a rhythm down the stretch. They just got to make it through these first few games. They've got a good matchup against the Jets coming up next. You can never take a team for granted, though. The Jets are dealing with some injuries of their own, and hey, if they make it an ugly game, who knows, anything could happen. But we're all going to be eagerly watching. I know that much for sure. I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys are great. Obviously, it takes a long time to make a video like this. If you guys could just take 10 seconds and hit that like, I would really appreciate it. And we're going to find out what happens on Sunday, and after that, I will see you guys then.